is Country Music News International. My name's Nigel Sharpe, and way over there, somewhere in the great USA, it's Mr. Daniel Grindstaff, or is it Grindstaff?
It is Grindstaff. You got it right the
Grindstaff,
first time.
okay.
Yes, sir.
And if you're not quite sure who Daniel is, he is a top banjo picker or banjoist. Is that a word?
I will go with that. It is a word. We'll
Okay,
we'll say it is a word. Yes, banjoist
cool.
is a word.
I like that word. It's a nice word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Specializing in kind of bluegrass, and I guess you play anything really at the standard that you play at.
Well, thank you.
Do you actually do any other forms or projects that are not bluegrass?
I really I view music as really two brackets, good and bad. I love all kinds of genres of music. I'm a big, of course, bluegrass fan, gospel music, a lot of country music, Americana music,
Mm.
Irish music, old rock music. I really, I don't necessarily think that I do different forms myself, but I'm influenced by a lot of forms of music.
Yeah.
One thing I pay attention to, especially when I get the opportunity to work in the studio or like the previous experiences I've had with artists, I really try to pay attention to the structure and the arrangement and production of songs that really catch my ear, songs that I've really enjoyed through the years. I try to pay close attention to the production on those, to the producer side of it. That's become quite the joy to me in the last, in this season of life. One of the most successful songs I've had up to this point is a bluegrass cover of Forever Young, which was,
Yeah.
pretty well made, widely popular by Rod Stewart. And that song, I always felt like it would translate well to an acoustic bluegrass setting, namely because it has such a vibrant story
Yeah.
to it. The lyrics paint a picture, and a lot of bluegrass songs are known for that. They're known for their lyrics and the stories and things like that. And that's a fine example of how a rock pop song translated over to a bluegrass format.
And thank you for bringing me to that point about Forever Young, because that's exactly where I was heading.
Oh,
Uh,
good.
with your album Heroes and Friends.
Yes, sir.
I guess the title of that album is exactly what the album is. Either you're playing with your heroes and friends, or the songs are from your heroes and friends.
Yes, that's very true. Each song has a story behind it. It's a 10-track album. Two of the tracks are instrumentals that I wrote, one for each of my sons. I've got two boys, Owen and Finn, and I wrote them each a song on this project. But each track on there is hand selected, especially Forever Young. I had that one in just kind of on a short list of something I wanted to record for well over a decade now.
What gave you the idea for the album in the first place? Was there anything specific, or there was just a desire to make an album of what you wanted to record?
Well, both. I started working professionally in music when I was 18 years old. And so that's well over 2 decades that I've been involved in music on a professional level. And I've met a lot of people through that, through just working in it that I always wanted to kind of collaborate with and hadn't really got the opportunity to do so. And songs would come to mind, and I would think, um, Forever Young, I thought I would love to hear Paul Brewster sing that. Years before we went in to record it, we had it played at mine and my wife's wedding in a slideshow, Rod Stewart's version of it. And I thought, one day I would love to record that and have Paul Brewster sing it. Same thing for the recording of Colleen Malone with Ricky Wasson. I always thought, man, I'd love to hear Ricky sing that. So on the other side of that, my love for um, being in the studio and putting the arrangements of songs together played a huge part into the project as well, and me wanting to do the project. And it's probably the most heartfelt project I've ever done. I really, the heart behind all of that and it being attached to specific seasons in my life and my music journey are all very, very special. Just so happened that so many things lined up. There was a lot of those that worked out after the fact. As far as Forever Young, when we went into the studio to record that, Dolly was not part of the song until Paul's part was done, and that part of it fell together. That come in a little later into the process of recording. So it was really I mean, it's just um, it's been the project of a lifetime for me. That's just the best way I know how to word it.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit like serendipity to me. I mean,
Yes,
all of
yeah,
a
yeah.
sudden, you got Dolly Parton doing the backing vocals. You think, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, that was one of those wow moments for sure that uh, I didn't, I hoped that she would like it and would like to be a part of it, but in the middle of her recording her vocal, this tells you what kind of not only artist but what kind of person Dolly is. She was right in the middle of the two album rock project that she was recording, and she worked Forever Young into her schedule to be part of it and to sing on it. And it wasn't like she didn't have enough going on, but she made time to see that come through and be part of that recording. So that was a huge moment for I can say for me and Paul both that was a really cool moment.
Let's move away a little bit from vocals and get to some banjo picking.
Sure. Yeah.
So when did you actually, first have a banjo in your hands?
I was probably around 11 years old. I really started playing when I was about 12. My dad's a banjo player. I never took lessons. He helped get me started, but he did not give me lessons on a consistent basis. And I just fell in love with it. He had a stack of records, Flatt and Scruggs, and I mean when I say records, I mean vinyl
Yeah,
records that he
sure.
had bought when he was a young musician. And I went through those, and it was Flatt and Scruggs and Jimmy Martin, the Osborne Brothers. I fell in love with it. I loved the sound of it. I loved the sound of the banjo, and I really got into Earl Scruggs and J.D. Crowe and Sonny Osborne as my if I had to name three primary influences, that's the three. But I love the sound of the banjo, and through those years, my um, that encapsulated my time. I just loved it. I wanted to do it. I wanted to play professionally, and I studied everything I could to learn how to be a professional player. Music, articles, interviews with banjo players that I looked up to try to learn anything I could and better my playing.
Going back to your album, Heroes and Friends. Now that this is complete, it's out there. We've got lots of lovely videos we can watch. What about actually touring it or gigging it? I mean,
Yeah,
how do you actually approach that?
I've actually got a couple of live concerts coming up, and I've selected guys. Actually, every one of them's played on the project,
Right.
and we've got a good portion of that entire project worked up to where we can do it live. Finland and Three Arrows, of course, looking at the world through the windshield. Last Old Dollar is another one that we're doing live. And so Kevin Richardson, that sang Last Old Dollar, is doing live shows, as well as Derek Deakins, who played fiddle on the album, along with Andy. Kent Blanton, that I mentioned, on upright bass. And Sean Lane, who is with Blue Highway, is doing the live shows when Blue Highway is not touring
Okay.
or they don't have a conflicting date.
Yeah.
So it's really worked out very, very well on that side, and I anticipate my next project to be a band album under my name.
Okay.
So I'm already kind of starting to map that in, and wanting to do more projects on down the way.
Yeah, because I was wondering about how you would approach, you know, getting the vocalist or
Sure.
vocalists that you would need to present the material live on stage.
Yeah, yeah. And the way I look at that is, you know, if somebody that has been a guest on the album is available and I'm in Nashville, I'm going to invite them to come out and sing the
Mm-hmm.
song, whichever song they sing. But Kevin Richardson, he is such a gifted vocalist. You know, for example, Colleen Malone that Ricky Watson sang, well, Kevin can cover it live as well to where we can do it in our live shows. As well as, you know, if Trey Hensley's a great friend of mine and played on guitar on almost the entire album outside of two tracks that my friend Josh played on. Trey saying, "Looking at the World Through the Windshield." Well, we can still do that live, and if Trey's there, I'll get him to do a guest spot. But if not, my primary singer is gonna. We're still gonna do the song, you
Right.
know, and it's the bulk of the guys on that track are on stage anyway. So musically, musically it's going to be the an effective performance, and vocally as well.
So it just leaves me to say thank you for taking the time to speak to us. We
Oh goodness,
we
thank you
do
guys.
appreciate it a lot.
Yeah,
It's particularly great for me to keep in contact with country music, with bluegrass music,
yeah,
just actually generally music in the USA.
yeah.
Um, I love a lot of the stuff that comes out of the States, particularly, as I say, country, bluegrass,
Hmm.
Americana, call it what you will. I mean, I grew up on a lot of um, folk music. That's a lot of
Sure.
English folk, Scottish folk, Irish folk,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
I love acoustic music or music with acoustic instruments
sure.
in
Well,
particular.
thank you, man. Well, thank you for supporting my album, and I hope to talk with you again in the future on more
Yeah,
projects for sure.
I'd certainly
Yeah.
like that. Okay, so
Yeah,
you
man.
take care of yourself, and
You too, brother. Thank you so much. You keep up the great work over there, man. We sure appreciate the support.
okay, let's find a hand. There we
Yes,
go.
sir.
I'll just
Yeah.
wave you goodbye. And
Yes, sir. See you.
thanks
Yeah.
again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.